Yo, 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 what's going on, my homie G Skillets? What's going on? Hello, can anyone hear me? Let me see if my mic is on. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys type yes in the chat? Cool, cool, cool. Sweet dealio. Sweet diddly diddlio. Sweet diddlio. Sweet dealio. Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, my homie G Skillets? Brazil. Hello. Yo, 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 yo. Shout out to Adam, shout out to Goa, shout out to Kevin, shout out to Yusef, shout out to Fake Account, shout out to Lulis, shout out to SH Key, shout out to Not Here, shout out to Bor Warner, shout out to SH Key, shout out to Spirus, shout out to Lulu's, shout out to Dennis, shout out to Voltex, shout out to Mark, shout out to Dentis, shout out to Sasha, shout out to Daniel, shout out to Adam, shout out to Gary, shout out to Planjaros. Shout out to Crane. Shout out to Not Here. Shout out to Glenn. Shout out to Sam. Why, you need some, Dennis? Hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start when we hit 50. So I got a question for you guys now, man. Why bake in the oven for 15 minutes at 350 degrees instead of 1 minute at 3,500 degrees? Shout out to my boy Sammy in Mexico. What's going on? All right, let's do it. Let's get it on, my man. Let's do it. Remove the text. Welcome to the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing good. New Jersey. Okay. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. You know, I was in Baltimore one time. Yeah, that's it. That's the story. Okay, let's start, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this on. Let me get a sip of that agua. All right, let's do it. For those that are just joining, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. It's good to see you again if you're just joining. If you're new here, make sure to, you know what to do, right? Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You guys like this more unprofessional approach, or do you guys like the more professional approach? Just because I can do both, man. I can do that relaxed type of dude. You know, I can be that chill guy who's just on the couch doing absolutely nothing, or I can be absolutely professional for you guys. All right. You guys asked for it. So what we got here is a possible completed correction that we discussed here in the 15,000 years ago, basically. We've been talking about this correction. It's been ages now, man. It's been ages in crypto years. But what does that mean? Does it mean that we are still working for the upside where we have a completed wave 4 here? I mean, I don't know, man. To be honest, it's looking pretty grim because, well, first of all, if you guys have been, been following me on social media, we've been discussing a lot of these back and forth bias swaps, and then I eventually swapped to being a bear because it's all boiled down to probabilities, ladies and gentlemen, right? If you have a bull and you just have a piece of paper and you write it out, bear. How many scenarios are there for the bear? How many scenarios are for the bull? Right now, we have about 4 scenarios for the bear and we have 1 scenario for the bull. Previously, it was different, right? We had 3 scenarios for the bull. We had all the opportunity to go to the upside, and we had basically 1 or 2 scenarios for the bear. We don't have that anymore. We have about 3 bearish scenarios that is overpowering what could be the bullish scenario here as a possible leading diagonal. Now, this is the only absolute way I can see this being a further continuation, okay? We had a very strong opportunity in every single way possible. We had even this impulse off the low that could have been a wave 1-2. We had the absolute possibility of this being a wave 3. And we just didn't get that wave 5 to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. It's just how it is. We came down. It was a major letdown. In fact, this whole pump that we had from the Trump, the crypto reserve thingy, we just got a dump. And it went further than that, right? That dump. It didn't even have a chance to build a Bart Simpson pattern. It didn't even do this or this. It just went up and down. Went up and down. And yeah, that's about it. That's all we had. It's just we didn't have it was basically a pump and dump. That's all we had. And because of that, we are in a dilemma here for the bullish scenario. And the bullish scenario right now, I can only see it as a possible diagonal here. And if we get saved somehow, some way where this is turning into a three-wave move to the upside, I'm still expecting some kind of rejection. Now, can we accept market inefficiencies? Absolutely. There's definitely a possibility, but objectively as possible, just strictly starting from a clean slate as an Elliottician, what is the first thing that you look for? You look for an impulse, right? And did we get an impulse to the upside? I don't think so. I don't think so. So if we pull up the, a 5-wave move going up into the first wave 1, we had a possible 2 here, 3, and then a possible 5 that could have been in the making, but we didn't create a technical high there. Now, there's no problem with that, right? In real-time analysis, it's absolutely fine. You can even just say it was truncation, right? No problem, because it was a pump. So we were looking for a correction. Could have that been a 1-2 here? Maybe. Could have been. But no, we didn't get that. So objectively as possible, what do we see? We see this as a possible ABC now. It's just clear as day right now, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. It's just, there's no other way I can see it. But is this what you want? I surely don't want it. I want a bullish scenario, that's for sure, right? We all do. And because of that reasoning, it gives me suspicion that this is still part of a larger distribution pattern that we may be working for more downside. And that's just how it is. And right now, this might be some kind of connector wave being in the making here. Now, why is it even further validated that there's more bearish possibilities? Well, because this move here is not a corrective move even as well. It's looking more like a 5-wave move now, right? It's pretty clear. Leading diagonal going to wave 1, 2, and then we have a very clear 5-wave move going into the wave 3. We have a flat for wave 4, and then a 5 as an impulse, right? So if that's the case, and we're trying to fit this from a bottom-up analysis as an ABC to the upside and a 5-wave move down, how can we fit that? Well, now we have, this move here that completed as a possible ABC, right? As a B-wave triangle that completed here, right? Now, what are the other options? We need to find out how this could be a completion of some sort of a wave 4 of a higher degree. If that's the case, and you have a higher degree termination here, now you're working for what has to be an impulse to the upside to create a first wave 1. So this here now has to be part of something else. It's most likely part of a transitional wave. So what can that be? It could be a W, X, and then a Y, right? And where are we going to place this wave X now? Well, we have a few options now, right? I've laid out all the scenarios. There's basically 4 scenarios that we're still playing out. X here. Here. So does the internal counts that we just counted here fit into the overall wave count? Yes, it does. Because we have an ABC that goes into a wave X. That's the corrective move. We have a 5-wave move impulse into a wave, possibly a wave A. This is just one of the first options, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And then possibly a corrective move for a wave B, most likely as an A, B, C. Now, do we have the Fibonacci retracements being met? Possibly a deep retracement B, possibly into the 88.6% or 78.6%. Bada bing, bada boom. So we have our first contender here that could be a completed move. What's next? 5-wave move to the downside for a wave C. Now, this is where your organizational skill comes to play, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Does this look okay to you as a WXY? When you zoom out, does this seem correct? That's why we need organizational skills here, right? Because even though it's valid, it doesn't really fit into a lot of other guideline perspectives that we may be observing for how we as Elliotticians want symmetry, geometry applied to how these waves are playing, because time is a factor when it comes to how these corrective moves play out. Just because it's valid doesn't mean it's the highest probable scenario. So this is one of these scenarios, right? We got a possible WXY here making. Does it fit in the eternal counts here? So the first step is making sure that you have, as objectively as possible, the validity of at least 2 degrees going into the internal degrees here. We got this ABC here, that's pretty clear. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's pretty clear. We have a 3-way move going into wave B, that's pretty clear. So we could be looking for a 5-way move to the downside. But does this fit overall into the overall scheme of what we could be looking at? Most likely not, just due to the fact that it doesn't have the right look. It's not impossible, but it's there. So what can we do to help alleviate some of this? Well, we can start talking about what other ways in terms of this X wave could be playing out without ruining the integrity of this internal count that we have here. So what does that mean? How can we extend this wave X? Well, there's a few ways. We can say that we could still be working for higher levels for a wave X that will help alleviate some of the timing issues, meaning that this is now turned into a minor degree. And we say that this whole move up was a wave W now, because a wave X can be any corrective move. So this would be a wave W. Remember, this is a 5-wave impulse, so we're looking for how this next X wave is being created, right? And then, since we have a 5-wave move down, we're looking for an A, B, and a C possibility, as long as it doesn't break this. This could also be some kind of double zigzag pattern that's in the making. So you would connect all the points here. This, not the best looking, but it still has a very arguably nice looking wave X structure. In real-time analysis, that is. So this is one way as well. Can we create even more opportunities? Now, I think that from an organizational perspective, the first scenario versus where we just have wave X completed. How about this scenario now? The second scenario. Is this a possibility? Yes, it is. But this is a really obscure looking structure as well, where we have, a very long wave W, a very long wave X, and then, we're going to be creating some kind of 101 extension for this wave Y. Maybe. But at that point, you might be able to structuralize it a little bit better, which is possibly turning this into what could be a flat. Boom, boom, boom. Right? What does this happen then? What happens next? Well, now this whole move is seemed as an ABC, expanded flat going into wave X, and we might take a liquidity sweep just because that C wave might, at that point, is going to be pretty obvious that it's going to break the previous low instead of just creating a normal double zigzag. We can come down and then come back up, breaching the high. And what happens there is it creates 2 liquidity sweeps, basically, meaning that we create a price extreme for this wave B against this previous point here, and then we create a price extreme against this point here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what could be the expanded flat. So out of those 3 scenarios, which scenario would fit the best? To me personally, arguably in real-time analysis, I would say that the expanded flat idea has a more say to how this could be playing out. Just due to the fact that, number one, we have wild volatility going on. We could have another round of volatility that could break this previous low, and people might see this as another opportunity, come back up, break it, have another opportunity here. This will be another fake out, and then we have that final ABC to the downside. So in further context of that, does that help create a better WXY? Yes. So we got an ABC here. We got a pretty nice distribution for wave X, and then an ABC move to the downside. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how we have to be organizing the scenarios as best as we can. So, in my opinion, I think this may be the highest probable scenario, and then we might have a double zigzag scenario, which is also the possibility, and it's really just the only two ways that I would see it playing out. We might just create further range here. Now, what's the next kind of validation that we can be getting? Well, it's pretty clear that we've been ranging here for, over a few months, and breaking below this and getting rejected once again means that this is now support turned resistance, right? So there could be an opportunity for wave X to get rejected once again. Liquidity sweeps, right? Get those late longers one more time at the regional in, the 97 to the $100,000 regions, break back down. So that is how we are organizing the shorter time frame scenarios, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, does that fit into a larger macro structure now? The only way I would fit this in, possibly, just from my perspective, okay? If we're working with that WXY scenario, and I think a lot of people are forgetting to zoom out from time to time, to fit that in is a possible mega bear bullish scenario. When we're taking into consideration of all things, I don't think that this is going to be a part of a wave 4 and then a 5, which I think a few people may be confused about that. They think that this is part of a wave 4. I don't think that's the case. I think at this point, it's pretty clear that this was a 5-wave move up. We had enough time to come back down, 28% move down, to kind of realize that this is not a range anymore. It's a distribution zone now that has completed, okay? So if we're working with even the most bullish scenario possible, it still requires for us to go down one more time down to the 69 to the 70,000 regions to complete off this WXY. And even then, you have to assume that this is part of a major bullish structure. So are you going to be extremely ambitious on the macro scale that we have here as a 1, 2, possibly 3, 4, 5? That'll lead us not even further into that 130, but even further up into the $300,000, $400,000 regions. That, ladies and gentlemen, may be the reason why we need to come back down to earth and stop finding how many times we can adjust the current top. It's better late than never to figure out that, okay, maybe we need to adjust this, that we're going to be working for a larger corrective move to the downside. So that brings me on to the next major idea, that we may be working for a possible larger ABC to the downside, okay? If that is the case, we may be working for what could be finally the final projected target that we have been talking about in the previous updates. If you go to my yearly analysis on my trading view, we talked about the possibility of this being a wave 5 completion, and we may now finally be looking for a wave ABC to the downside. We hit a pretty nice target in terms of how this is being idealized as a 5-wave structure, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, if that is the case where we have a completed 5-wave move to the upside for a wave 1, and we now may be working for what could be the cycle wave 1 or intermediate wave 1, 2 on the macro scale, this is what we're looking at now. Okay? So, how do we shift everything? We now have to treat this as an impulse. Now, I discussed this in the previous videos, that until we actually break this low, that we can start talking about a bearish scenario. And I think it's still absolutely applicable that we can start still talking about a bear market. The reason why, number one, from a top-down analysis, that because we went down 28%, that is a lot. It's not something to joke around with, ladies and gentlemen. And anything that we're creating here as a wave 2 is just purely distribution, in my opinion. And if we go back to the previous bear markets, okay, the first initial actionary wave. We're talking about just the first initial move, okay? We had a 22% and then a follow down by a 40% move. That was the initial move. Here, same thing, around 27% of a move back in 2021, okay? And then we created a distribution for a wave 2 here. At that point, we were talking about how this could have been a 1-2 in the making, where we were creating a 5-way move up into a possible wave 1, and then a 2, 3, 4, 5. That didn't happen. Are we going to make the same mistake here? It's absolutely possible. If we go back to the 2018 bear market, the first initial move here was also 29 to 30%. Is that a coincidence, or is that telling us or foreshadowing that this could also be creating some kind of wave 2 in the making here right now before we go for further move to the downside? Maybe. If we go back here, sorry, this was the 2018. This move was 40%, right? So 20 to 40%, I mean, we're in the middle right now. We're at 30% basically of a pullback already from the first initial move. It's not nearly the same in terms of the, severity of how it dropped. It's still applicable that we may be creating what could be finally a 5-wave move to the downside as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the first wave 1. Okay? So now we can talk about how this is being created, this ABC. How can we connect this into a wave 2, right? So as you can see, now this is working just like that X wave scenario, but as a more bearish wave 2 distribution pattern, right? So this wave 2 could also be adjusted here. It could be here, could be here, could be here. It doesn't matter because we all know the general direction is moving to the downside. So we're still keeping the integrity of this ABC. We're keeping the integrity of this impulse move that we had here. I think this has to be removed. If we're creating distribution, if there is a possibility that this same idea could be a flat, where we're creating an ABC down for a wave B, then that will be the end of that wave 2. And we're applying the same type of V-shaped recovery. It has happened in the past many times where we just corrected down, get a lot of fake outs along the way. If we go back all the way here, V-shaped recovery, V-shaped recovery. I feel like this is what we're creating here. Some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. A wave 1, 2 is now being created just like we had over here back in 2021. Same thing with the 2018 move that we had, which was this, where we had a 1, 2 to the downside, or an AB of some sort, right? So I hope everyone understands that this is how we should be approaching the markets, just purely from real-time analysis. Now, I know deep down, including me, we have a soft spot for a bullish continuation. We all have that. Even as a bear, many bears are gonna, 100% they have a soft spot for a bullish scenario because deep down, we all want it. I'm sure at some point, we're gonna accept it if it does move up, but this is the only way I can fit it in. And this move here being objectively as a possible 5-way move and objectively clear as a 3-way move to the upside, the only mode of pattern that we could be creating going into a wave 1 is the leading diagonal. And that is the least favorable scenario that we have. Is it possible? Yes. Is it impossible? No. But is it the highest probability? No, it's not. Right now, it is the lowest probability. Now, there are some people talking about tomorrow's crypto summit. I don't know what that's going to have an impact on. Maybe that will be the pump to the upside. Very possible. I'm more than happy to swap bias and just go with this bullish scenario because, like I said, we all have a soft spot for this, right? But it requires a lot of obstacles along the way, ladies and gentlemen. We need to create not only a contracting look for it, ideal, that is, it doesn't have to have a perfect look. We also need a 1-2 pullback of some sort. And then we can work for that wave 3. But I know it sucks. It just sucks because We had all the opportunity to do so. Just even the past week, we had the opportunity to create a 5-way move to the upside. We didn't get that though. It is really sad. So, yeah, that's really the only way. It's the only way. And like I said, how is there any way that we can fit in some kind of ABC to the downside here? Maybe a flat idea as an ABC, but even the internal counts, you know, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you're missing this like here as well. So is it a double correction of some sort? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this here was so impulsive. WXY, I mean, we could fit, maybe we can maybe force some kind of double correction in here, but it's just, it doesn't really make sense to me at this point to say that this is, even if you're changing the termination point of this wave A, this is still a 3-way move of some sort. And if you're treating this as an ABC here, you now don't need to label this as a W, and then this is an X and this is Y, and that doesn't even fit in there at that point, right? I mean, what about the micro time frames? Does it provide any more clarity there? Maybe. I mean, X, yeah, you know, it's not looking, when you're already stumped on working on such an impulsive move to the downside and you're trying to force in some kind of double correction, just doesn't feel right, especially that you have 2 consecutive objective patterns or objective clear completed some kind of ABC to the downside, and then this is followed by an impulse. I mean, it's really hard to say. If this was a 5-wave move up, we could definitely say that, you know, some kind of forced, we can sacrifice and also take in the consideration of market inefficiencies and say that this was some kind of double correction. But at this point, I don't think it's even a double correction. So this scenario is really low on the probability spectrum right now. We really need to move the GTFO, basically, get the F out of here tomorrow. If the crypto summit thing is going to be at all useful for supporting the bullish thesis. It's really low on the spectrum right now. So that leads me on to the medium time frame, which is, again, I've organized it here. WXY, created distribution. This is pretty much the last resort. A triangle pattern for wave X. Oh, it actually hit that trend line that I drew yesterday quite nicely, perfectly actually. Nice. Or WXY here. At this point, I mean, I don't even know if this is going to be playing out anymore. Just doesn't seem right. It doesn't have the right look. At that point, we probably go for the flat idea, right? From a timing perspective. Like this. So, yeah, it's tough, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tough time to be in the crypto markets right now because you definitely don't want to be trading not only a complex structure within a complex structure already. You're narrowed down to essentially only one bullish scenario, and not only that, you're taking into consideration that a WXY is being made here. And already we're going down, we're at $88,000 right now, right? So we need to really move out of here if that is one of the scenarios. We definitely don't want to be creating an expanding leading diagonal. So yeah, it's a sad day, man. Doesn't seem good. It's not good for Bitcoin, but excuse me. But the altcoin markets are surprisingly bullish, and that's where we have the biggest dilemma here. Because if we look at Ethereum, the biggest dilemma that we have here is that we're still retaining a lot of the bullish structure for a lot of these coins. I mean, we arguably have what could be a distribution here for a wave X as a possible A, B, C, W, X, Y to the upside. You know, ADA, XRP, I mean, look at XRP. It's holding like a champ. I mean, rest in peace for those that didn't get into XRP, but we have a lot of time to validate what could be 3 bullish scenarios, and that's the whole dilemma here, because there's so many bullish structures for altcoins that we're heavily disconnected with Bitcoin right now for altcoins. And arguably, even the meme coins are starting to look good, you know, for at least a relief rally, that is. And Bitcoin is just ruining the show. So are we going to accept a logic, or are we going to accept what is going to be the lone scenario for bullish scenario on Bitcoin? That is the leading diagonal. That's about it. There are plenty of times where we can accept market inefficiencies, right? However, but looking at this, 5-way move, it's so clear, right? Now all we have to do is just kind of confirm what's happening right now. Is it a large distribution, wave 1, 2? Even so, we're looking for higher levels on XRP, right? What's the next scenario? Even with the double correction to the downside, wave 2, we have so much room to come down that there is a very good possibility that this is just a double correction. It's still bullish. What about this one, where we're working for a 5th wave to the upside? It's still bullish. So is this where the Elliott wave theory falls short, where it gives us the proper setups for a lot of these altcoins, but it provides us clarity for Bitcoin that there are more bearish possibilities or scenarios to the downside? That is where we have to sincerely take into consideration on whether the altcoin markets are leading Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin leading the altcoin markets? Is this truly a different era or a different cycle that is completely different from what we have witnessed in the previous bull markets? That's where I am also having a hard time. It's just simply difficult. And especially with the S&P 500 right now, that's also showing bearish pressure. What is that leading us to? Are we seeing something that we're not seeing? Are we not seeing something that we're not able to see for a bearish move to the downside for any of these coins that are all retaining their bullish structure? That's impossible to know. And even astrology, even the simple navigation of the markets, it's just simply impossible to know. It's just right now, even the general market participant who's not versed in the Elliott wave theory is scratching their head as well, because all coins are still ranging quite nicely. They're still retaining the bullish structure, but what the F is going on with Bitcoin? Why is it still showing bearish pressure? And then why is there more bearish scenarios than there's bullish scenarios? So that's where the logic you have to take into consideration, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's get on to the questions. Blood moon is coming. Yeah, I mean, not good, man. Not good. I think I have one of the indicators actually that shows the astrology actually, or the moon phases. Man, not good, not good. I don't know. We'll have to see. Full moon, blood moon, whatever it is, it's not good. Lulu's is asking, can XY can be long in time in terms as 1 year, let's say February through August of 2026. If you're talking on the macro, it can definitely go on. As long as it portrays some kind of relative symmetry, then you're fine. I see a flat W, zigzag X, and I think we just completed B of a contracting triangle Y of Y. To me, that's too complicated, man. What if a big expanding flat for wave 2, maybe too forced? Yeah, it's too forced. But even then, as an expanded flat, you still run into the same problem, man, because and the reason why I don't like the expanded flat idea, if this even is an expanded flat where we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside for wave C, many people are possibly seeing this. They're even the leading or the ending expanding diagonal, they're accepting inefficiencies where it's just a short wave C and it doesn't breach the previous high of a wave A. I mean, to me, that's not even a valid ABC structure to me. I think some people are labeling it where they're saying this is an expanded diagonal. This isn't valid to me whatsoever. I think this is part of a connective structure of this move here. So yeah, there's a problem here. So I don't like to see that, but it's a simple fix. There is a way to count a 5-wave move to the downside, which is that bearish scenario that I showed you guys, which is this, where we have a 1, 2, 3, and then a triangle for 4, and then that 5 can be completed there. So yeah, that's the way. But even as an expanded flat, you run into the same problem because you have the follow-up here that needs to be resolved as a wave 1, and we don't have that. What do you think of the macro in terms of how other markets are moving and from the perspective of VIX and how that impacts crypto markets in general for this year in 2026? Do you factor those two? I absolutely do, man. But right now, I think Bitcoin is following the stock markets right now. We're seeing a pretty good dump in the stock markets, possibly going for another rebound right now, possibly a relief rally. I haven't checked into it, but even that, in a sense, is disconnected with Bitcoin. We can even talk about the dollar. Someone who's just watching the dollar, if you look at it, I mean, look at this. It's dumping. I mean, this should be heaven for crypto. I mean, we've been talking about this move here for the longest time, right? We've been talking about this ending diagonal here. If we go back to my dollar analysis, where is it? I mean, this should have been heavy. I mean, this should have been heaven for altcoins in Bitcoin, right? It is a mystery. Like, to be honest, like this is the biggest dump that we just had in a day, basically, in 3 days. The biggest dump. Like, what's going on? We should be trading the Forex markets, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's just there's more opportunities, a lot more clearer. What's going on? Like, what's going on with Bitcoin? Why isn't it correlating with risk on assets? That this massive 3%, man. That's crazy, bro. Like, what the heck is going on here? Like, this is a huge dump. 5%? That's massive. That could be a very profitable move if you're trading, the Forex markets. But what's going on with Bitcoin? It's not correlating. Even if you're following just a dollar that's supposed to be correlating with Bitcoin, it's not correlating. So something's cooking here, man. Something is either cooking or something is about to get cooked. And it's going to be Bitcoin or altcoins. And we don't know which one's going to get cooked. That's why cash is possibly a position. I don't know, man. The dollar's going down, so something's going on. I don't know what the heck is going on, but something's not right here, ladies and gentlemen. Something is not right. They say it's sad. It seems like the markets look weak, including U.S. markets and crypto. We already retraced 50% of wave 3. The new low we put in as a flat where wave C is 1.618 of A. I don't see need to retrace further. Like I said, the problem is lying in the follow-up. I mean, I don't care if it's valid of an expanded flat or whatever thing you're looking at. Can you create a clear 5-wave move to the upside after the fact that it has terminated for that flat? That's the problem. Are impulse moves to the upside that can't be sustained and retraces usually indicative of weakness to the downside? Yes, usually, I mean, absolutely, especially with the rejection. After an ABC that looked like a wave 3 to the upside, that's most likely some kind of weakness, and that's what we got, the follow-up to the downside as a dump, right? What about the higher frame 1212? Would you explain this? Some more downside and then all go up? 1212? What do you mean? This? 12? This is a 1212, so we would need a dump down to the levels over here, unless you're talking about this being a 1212. But even then, it still requires insane contradiction and you're going against the markets quite a bit, even if you're seeing this as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if you're seeing this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the intermediate, you still have a completed 5. It doesn't change anything really. It's still, you're looking for a WXY to the downside as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the whole the medium time frames at all. A WXY. Can you have a 1, 2 here, but then you run into the problem of, can we create a 5-way move off the lows here? That's the problem. I don't think we have that. That's the problem. So I think we're narrowed down to this, ladies and gentlemen. It's just really 1, 2 that's either complete or a 1, 2 that's in the making. It would be better to create another 1, 2, a larger 1, 2, and then we create a 3, 4, 5 to the downside. It gives us a little bit more room in terms of the Fibonacci projections as well. This is all idealized, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to play out exactly like this. It's just based on overall liquidity zones and overall areas of support that we're looking at. And definitely, we're going to get some kind of support here, right? We can take this opportunity as a B wave, but we're eventually going to look for a larger move to the downside if this happens. So if BTC enters a bear market, altcoins can do a fake out. I just answered that, man. We really don't know. We have so many bullish altcoins. Something's not cooking here correctly, man. I think a lot of people are, I don't know what's going on, man. The cookies are not baking in the oven, man. Someone's trying to cook it in the microwave right now. It's not looking good right now. It's absolutely bad. Something's not looking good because the dollar's going down like crazy. Bitcoin is heavily disconnected with all the altcoins, and altcoins are looking very good. That's about it. So whether you want to look at it from that perspective, if you think altcoins is going to be leading the markets and leading Bitcoin, then you're going to have to also hope on the fact that it's going to create a leading diagonal. Can the wave 4 territory enter the wave 1 territory in the Elliott wave theory? No, it cannot. In an impulse, it cannot do that. In a diagonal, it can, where it overlaps into the price territory of wave 1. So what is your most likely scenario if we assume to sell the news tomorrow? It's just going to be working on either this or working on this. Some kind of distribution here. We got at least one more dump, and then we can reassess on whether the bounce is going to happen or not. Or a triangle idea, where we just range for the rest of the week, and then we come back down. If you look at it, everything leads to the downside now, right? So that is a problem. Is it possible for first wave is leading, then fifth can be ending? I don't understand that question, man. I'm sorry. Ethereum counts since it's all 3 waves. Can we not assume an extended triangle similar to XRP? We had the triangle opportunity, man. If we pull up Ethereum, I told you, it's just if and that, man. We already invalidated it. You're going to try to extend the triangle? I don't think so. Can't do it. This was the triangle. And already at that time, this had a pretty bad look, arguably, right? We invalidated it already. We're past this. And even if you're seeing this as some kind of impulse, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, even this is invalidated if you're seeing this as a 3, 4, 5. It's invalidated because we just entered the territory of wave 1. So even that is out of the picture now. We're at a dilemma here, ladies and gentlemen. The only way that we're going to be saved by the markets is by creating some kind of move out of here as another ABC to the upside. That's the only way. And that's arguably not even a bullish structure. It's still leading us further to the upside, possibly 5 digits, but it's still part of what's going to be even worse of another massive bear market to the downside, because this is a flat. F count, since all 3 waves, we cannot assume an extended triangle. So yes, I already went over that. In the micro time frame, no. No. There's no way this is a triangle. If you're practicing Elliott waves, this is definitely best fitted as an ABC. Best. That's the only way. Otherwise, you're working with a WXYXZ to the upside. That's finished as an X wave going into a double zigzag, WXY to the downside. Or if you're seeing this as a flat possibility, as an ABC regular flat, then that's also your possibility as well. But we don't, at that point, I've proven this point quite a bit, a few times actually. If you're seeing this as a flat idea, on the macro, it's eventually, we're gonna narrow it down to some kind of sharp correction. It's not gonna look, unless it's perfectly like equilibrium, a 90 to 100% of that wave A over here, then it could be a flat. But regular flats are actually quite rare, ladies and gentlemen. It's so rare that I think expanded flats should be the most commonly observed variation, in my opinion. Crypto market is being manipulated. Yes. Is it better to hold USD or GBP? Brother, that is up to you, man. But what I'm telling you right now is there are more bearish possibilities than there are bullish possibilities right now. Nesting 1-2s have a deeper retracement. Not valid. I never had a 1-2-1-2 scenario here. Sorry. My opinion is higher time frame, monthly, weekly, we are entering a fifth wave extension. So yeah, that, I mean, I already gave that scenario, but if that fifth wave extension is going to happen, then rest in peace bears, right? Is Solana already in a bear market? Let's pull up Solana, because I think I talked about Solana being in a bear market, right? But I also talked about a possible bounce being in play. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. Same problem here, because we have a 5-wave move up here. Most likely a 5-wave move has completed very soon, or is looking to complete soon. We're looking for a relief rally, and that's about the best you're going to get, a 40 to 50, 60% run. Get rejected around a major Fibonacci level, and then we look for a partner like to the downside, and then at least look around the 23.6 or 38.2% as our minimum expectation. And if it goes even deeper, the 61.8% around $30 is possibly your best bet. Otherwise, you're going to have to hope on a possible flat here. But it's way too early to call for a flat. Way too early. We don't even know if this is even the beginning of an impulse of this wave one here. What signals should we wait for confirmed bullish reversal in BTC? That's a good question. I'll answer that. The only way that you would actually confirm of getting in, well, first of all, you shouldn't be in it if you're waiting for a confirmation. It's already looking unlikely at this point. What the, yeah, it's looking bad, man. I don't know. It's looking real bad. Maybe there's going to be some kind of pull-off miracle. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I can give you an answer here, but just this move here doesn't look... It's so unfortunate because we could have created a 5-way move off the lows here, go up into at least the resistance zone, turn it back into support, and then have that 1-2, and then we moved out of here. That would have been the best possible scenario going forward, but we didn't even get that. We got a 3-way move off of the lows here. And that's only leading us possibly into the last resort mode of correction, which is, or mode of pattern, which is the ABC going into the first subwave of wave 1. And again, you're forcing yourself to see this as a WXY or an ABC. I can't even force one in there. I can't. But I guess we could, if in the sense that this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we had the same type of move here, it would have fitted better if we forced it at that time. But right now we're forcing two different things at the same time, right? It's not looking good. It's not looking good. If the first wave is a leading diagonal, is it possible we get an ending diagonal in its fifth wave? Even, you mean within a diagonal? You can have diagonals within diagonals if the subwave allows it. If you have, for example, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the fifth wave is a diagonal, you can have it as a wave 1. Sure, if that's part of a diagonal, yeah. To explain the bullish altcoins, would capital be rotating to altcoins as traders see bearish BTC options? That is the question that we have been trying to answer for the past 1 hour, brother, because we really don't know. I mean, again, number one, here, I mean, come on, guys. Do you guys ever write these things out, like, at all? Let's write it out together. I'll even write it out. Number one, Bitcoin has more bearish scenarios, right? Number two, altcoins are arguably bullish, retaining their bullish structure. Okay? DXY, dollar, is dumping hard. What else? That's the three main things or criteria that, I mean, most would look at, right? So if in that scenario, if this is more bearish, is this going to have a more impact on this and change this, where if altcoins are retaining their bullish structure, is this going to be turning into a bearish structure? That's impossible to validate right now. So what about the other way around? Altcoins are arguably, a lot of them are, at least looking for a relief rally. Is that having influence on Bitcoin? That's also impossible to answer, right? Because Bitcoin is usually what leads the markets. Now, what about the dollar? Now, this is where things get interesting, because if the dollar is dumping hard, this in return should be turning bullish, right? But that's not the case. Bitcoin is still dumping even with the fact that the dollar is dumping, right? Now, the dollar dumping doesn't necessarily or have to correlate exactly. I mean, it can definitely be part of a geopolitical strategy. A lot of people could be taking out or, betting against the dollar, where they're looking for other means of currencies because the U.S. is just in a turbulent time, with the tariffs and all that crap going on. They might find, value in other currencies as well. So that is also a possibility. So I think just due to that fact alone, it may not have a direct impact at this current time. So that makes it even that much more difficult in terms of the actual correlation that's happening between Bitcoin and the dollar. So as you can see, all three are absolute BS right now, because none of them are telling that can overpower the fact for another scenario that could be happening. If Bitcoin has more bearish scenarios, that means that the dollar has to be increasing, right? If the dollar's dumping, that means that Bitcoin has to be increasing. None of these are matching right now. None of them are. Can we add something to the equation? Maybe the Bitcoin dominance? I don't know. But the Bitcoin dominance is definitely not something that we want to be looking at right now. There's more important means within the market, especially when we're looking at it from Elliott wave structure, especially we have more bearish structures than bullish structures right now. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. How do you see the whole ecosystem with BTC here? The market has accustomed investors to always see a dominant collapse to see an alt, and if we're not so. I can't answer that, man. To be honest, first of all, I don't really understand the question. What's your view on the U.S. stock market, sir? Things starting to look bearish. Yes, it's quite not good right now, man. It's not good. On the 15, what do you think of that C, expanding diagonal being the end of wave 2, down 3, or up? I think I already answered that question. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to ask a question, make sure it's thorough. Like, even if you're not, fluent in English, make sure to tell me what currency it is, at least, or like what asset or ticker that you're looking at, all right? What would be a good strategy for exiting BTC into USD at the moment? It's right there. I'm actually pointing at my monitor right now. Wave WXY is correction likely. I don't see wave 4 for real. I see a WXY and a wave 2. Current state finished, looking for a W in X or already in wave Y. Have fun looking for bullish structures. Man, half of these questions or comments I don't understand. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could. I'm so sorry. Keep the questions rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Give me the questions, because this is the only time you're going to get an answer, or at least try. What do you say to 10-year yields pumping? I mean, that could mean a lot of things, man. It could mean the bond prices are actually going to be failing as well, because bonds also, they move inversely with the prices, right? It means that investors are just selling their bonds, possibly looking to relocate to more riskier assets. I don't know. I mean, even that is really not telling enough. Maybe back in 2008, 2010, maybe the early decades, it was far more easier. I don't even look at the yield, 10-year yields anymore. It could be inflation concerns, really. Who knows? Stronger economic outlook. If the yields are rising because there may be some growth expectations, right? It could mean that there's confidence in the economy, but does that translate to the stock markets? Maybe. I don't know. But could it also mean something else? Absolutely. It could be pressure on the stock market as well, because it makes the yields more attractive. That's why you're seeing the pump attractive relative to the stocks. It could lead, the stock markets to more decline, especially in growth sectors, right? But more importantly, it's possibly interest rates, and the expectation of the interest rates. I haven't looked at it right now. I'm not updated on it, but usually it just means higher expectations for interest rates, because the market will anticipate higher rate hikes, right? For the rates that will stay higher for longer due to the inflation as well, right? So that's the thing. Do you look at bond yields or leaning bear or bull? Yes, I do. I do, sir. Is there a plan to finish the first wave of the monthly line and is currently going to second wave on the monthly line? No. Have you seen a wave 1 being a leading diagonal and a wave 5 being an ending diagonal all in the same degree? Yeah. I already answered that. Announcements could throw this up in the air. Throw it up like a ball. You guys remember the game Dodgeball? Sorry, man. I think I'm too old for this, but in the United States, that is. Anyone from the U.S. here? Dodgeball? Anyone play Dodgeball as a kid? I don't know if that's still a thing there. Or maybe even that ball that's like hanging on the little hoop, and like it circles around, and then, I don't know, you punch it in the air, and then you try to make the hoop, you try to make a basketball hoop into that, and then it falls out whatever hole. Forgot what that game was. That was fun. And then what other games was there in the US? There was a lot of weird games that I think I played there in the US. Tic-tac-toe? No, not tic-tac-toe. Hopscotch, right? Hopscotch. And then God damn. It's been quite a while. What else did I play? Yeah, tetherball. Was that called tetherball? Where you have like the ball, like, I guess it's tethered, right? It's tethered onto the little thing, and you punch that little biatch into the little hole at the top, and then it comes out the any of the holes, whatever. Half, man. Half. Tetherball. I also remember the like doing math where the teacher like writes on that projector, and then it like a light shines and then it shines onto the wall. I kind of miss that, man. I wish I think that was the days, dude. No phones. Do they still use that in schools though? Nah, they don't, right? Because they're using probably like just TV projectors, right? Anyways, it's not looking good, Bitcoin. If I had to pick, I mean, if you had a gun pointed to my head and said, hey, you better tell me a scenario right now. I don't care if you're right or wrong. There's a bullet to your head right now. Tell me in 5 seconds. If you don't tell me, I'm going to pull the trigger. My answer is pull the trigger, buddy. I'm just kidding. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose this one here, where we're at least working for one more C wave to the downside. It's this, where we come down. Don't have to necessarily breach it. This could be turning into WXY, or just choose this as an expand flow, where we create one more low here. Oh, funnel ball. Okay, that makes sense now because it's a funnel, right? Like it's big on the top and then small on the bottom. So you put the ball in there and then it comes out whatever hole, and then you totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's the game. To be honest, I didn't even know how to play it. I always just try to rip that ball into off the pole, but it never worked. Digital projectors and whiteboards now? Okay. So they are still using projectors, right? I mean, I guess it's just like you just plug in your laptop, right? Just HDMI or whatever, and then you just project it from there and you work on your computer. I guess that would be the way. The 78.6 retracement aligns with the 1 degree lower wave 4. 78.6 retracement aligns with wave 2 of 5th extension. I know you've said that some altcoins have bullish structure right now compared to Bitcoin. Do you see those being able to hold up the last week's low even if we see Bitcoin dump? That's a good question, actually. So if we go back to XRP, for example, we have 3 bullish scenarios now, right? Remember, you write this out, ladies and gentlemen, right? Bullish, bearish. How many scenarios do we have? There's no bearish scenarios right now. Maybe one immediate bearish that could be coming back and forth between the bull. But right now we have 3 bullish scenarios, even if we do dump below the previous low. So how can that be? If we zoom out, we got this one here. If we get protected here, this idea still is there as long as we get protected above. And then we have the double zigzag scenario, WXY, where we're working for an ABC to the downside. If this level breaks, this idea becomes the only resort scenario. And even though it breaks, it still creates a very bullish scenario for a possible wave 1-2 because we had such a clear 5-wave move to the upside. And this is why the Elliott wave theory shows so much clarity, ladies and gentlemen, because it gives us the separation of degrees as best as it can. And it gives us clear invalidations. No laminate projectors anymore. Yeah. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. Those were the days where the teacher would just write on that little projector thingy and she would lick her finger and then erase like a number if she wrote something wrong. Those were the days, man. Those are the days. JSTC is saying that we can't share it. Share what? What are your thoughts on the price to long Ethereum in this dump? Can you let me know price level to look out for a long? I mean, if you're bullish, this would be the only time to long it because, again, the only factor is Bitcoin. But Ethereum portrays a very strong potential that a bottom is in now for the bullish structure that is. Are we playing Squid Game Russian Roulette? Yes. Oh, my trading view link is not working? Just go here. That's the link. What do you think of the gap at 67K? A lot of confidence at that level as well as liquidity. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think that we actually fulfilled the CME gap entirely, right? If we look at the CME gap, I don't think that we entirely filled that, did we? Yeah, we didn't fill it entirely. So the risk is still there. I mean, but to me, it's filled. But again, technically, it's not filled, right? So we still have just this itty teeny bitty mighty little gap there. Such a tiny little gap that we have to fill. We might as well fill it, right? What do you think about altcoins running and BTC sideways down? BTC would drop and then bull run is over? Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm answering the same question. I'm in the same position as you. Like, I don't know. But all I can say is I can give you objective, clear points that altcoins are still portraying very bullish structures. Bitcoin just has more scenarios that are bearish, but that's not telling enough. There's only one bullish scenario that's applicable right now, which is the leading diagonal, and that in itself is a very low probability. So from a narrow down perspective, Bitcoin is objectively bearish. Altcoins are objectively bullish. And the dollar dumping right now, in theory, everything is aligning from what I have seen from the past. Everything is aligning perfectly. I mean, the DXY is dumping like crazy, right? So, yeah. Oh! Okay, I see what you're saying. The Squid Game. That's funny, man. That's funny. Squid Game 2 is horrible, man. I don't know. I didn't like it. It just felt too WOKE. I'm not going to say the word here because I know something's going to happen. I know YouTube's probably watching me right now. WOKE. Give us a quick lick on the piano. I'll pull out my piano next live stream. I'll play you guys something. I'll take requests for that too as well. The wave pattern of CME is often more accurate than that of Coinbase, while CB is often distorted. Yeah, they work hand in hand. I mean, you should be cross-checking everything. Spot, perpetuals, different exchanges, what they're showing. A lot of exchanges show certain highs being broken, certain lows being broken. So yeah, definitely you want to be cross-checking. the wave pattern of the CME is often more accurate than of Coinbase. The wave pattern on CB is more distorted. So if we look at the CME chart, then let's see if that is true. It's the same. It's the same. Just the CME gaps are a little bit different. That would be flippening when altcoins outperform BTC, the end of the crypto space in 4 years. See, now this is a very good point, and I'm glad you brought this up, all right? MD Harith, my man. The flippening. This is a very good point. He brings up a very important point because in the past bear markets, especially in the ICO phase, the 2018 ICO phase, right? If we go back to it, a lot of the alt seasons actually happened after the dump over here. Back in 2017, a lot of them actually rallied over here. So if this is part of a larger distribution for a wave 2 or an X or something, then we can see a lot of altcoins running as well, if that allows it. So that's a very good point, man. A lot of people think that the altcoins just ran up along with this. They did, but a lot of the mega runs happened on the final push over here. I think most of them did. Yeah, I think. Because if we, actually, I don't know. What happened with XRP? Let's compare that chart, actually. So yeah, you can see as Bitcoin dumped, the mega run happened here. You can see, right? When you're comparing it. I'm glad someone finally brought that up, man. Because the actual mega bull run happened during that wave 2 distribution. So that is a very, very important way of looking at the markets in terms of the timing. Because a lot of people think that the actual bull market for altcoins happened here. It was the trigger, but with a distribution here, that is where we saw the massive run on XRP. And a lot of other coins as well. So that's a very good point, man. That was a good point, brother. High five. So yeah, so the flippening, man, it's a very important thing because when the dump happened, if we're going to expect Bitcoin or altcoins to pump, is that aligning? Maybe. So maybe that is aligning, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, we talked about 1, Bitcoin is bearish, right? Possibly in distribution. 2, altcoins are bullish. 3, DXY is dumping. Ooh. But if we take the extra narrative where the pump, but altcoins pumped after Bitcoin made the first dump, initial dump. That changes the equation now entirely, right? Does this fit into this new equation? Are altcoins bullish? Yes. Did Bitcoin dump and is in a distribution phase of a possible wave 1, 2 here? Yes, it fits in. If the DXY is dumping, can that fit into the narrative of here as well? Detective Eric is here, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm telling you, if this is true, this could be where all the altcoins are going to go for a mega run. We may have just found the new part of the equation that just completely ended the Big Bang Theory. I think we can throw out the idea of last year 4 cycles here from now on. Your thoughts? I think so too, brother. I think we're in a market maturity phase. I think eventually we're going to break the cycle of something. because we're already ahead of schedule, first of all, for this bull market. The bull market should have happened a few months later, right? And what that means is that the bear market might come a little bit earlier. So that's a very high possibility, Black Cat Syndicate. Link actually showing strength recently. If you want to see my analysis on that, I actually uploaded an analysis on that. The flippening was an idea that ETH would pass BTC for the #1 spot. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I'm talking about it triggered an idea for me because that's where a lot of the pumps actually happened. When Bitcoin dumped and we saw the massive rally happening for Ethereum and XRP and so forth, the flippening was on the table, especially with Bitcoin Cash. If you guys remember, Bitcoin Cash was crazy. I think there was like an actual site that was being dedicated just for the flippening, right? For Bitcoin Cash. I would love to see a wider variety of coins covered on X-Force Global. It was truly an insightful live chat session. Thank you very much, SHK. Macro uncertainty. If USA wants a strategic risk, they want to buy cheap Bitcoin. That's a very good idea as well. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if the announcement for crypto tax occurs where there's going to be zero gain tax, let me tell you, in the long run, that's fantastic. But in the short term, I can guarantee you that's a bad thing. And honestly, I'm kind of against that idea because if you think about it, that gives the mega whales the opportunity to finally offload their positions at a large scale and not sell, just sell off all their Bitcoins and not get taxed on it. Imagine that happening. Or mega, altcoins that is made in the USA. I don't know which one they're going to say it's tax-free. But if you think about it, people may see that as a bullish thing where, zero gain taxes, it has to be deemed bullish because now everyone's going to buy into Bitcoin and they want higher prices and now they can sell their Bitcoin at a higher level for no tax, right? You got to think of it in a different perspective, man. It's because there's a lot of people who's ready to offload their positions as well, not buy into Bitcoin, but they want to offload their positions. And that is what's happening. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be a mega sell-off. You're welcome. Considering the BTC dump and altcoin pump thesis, do you anticipate Bitcoin miners, CLSK, Mara to pump alongside altcoins? That's a difficult one, man. Mining is a very difficult one. Usually it'll just follow Bitcoin in my opinion. Like I said, miners are looking for cheaper Bitcoin in my opinion, man. I don't believe in that whole break-even crap. It really just depends on Bitcoin's price. It's either going to just follow it or not. And we really don't know what's going to happen with the miners, man. A dump is a dump. You just got to take that into consideration. A dump is a dump. People take their profits from BTC and put it into altcoins. That is alt season. Yes, that is absolutely true, brother. What about Ondo? It looks bullish. That's my idea. It'll take effect into next cycle, not this one. So yeah, that's the overall intention of how I'm seeing the markets, ladies and gentlemen. Because if there is a zero tax whatever, I think it's just pure manipulation at that point. Crypto reserve, I feel like that was a manipulation. I feel like a crypto to free tax, capital gains tax is going to be also highly bearish in my opinion, just due to the fact that mega whales are going to want to sell off their positions now, finally getting that opportunity. But I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I think we found something in this live stream that could potentially be part of what we could be seeing, right? We found the equation, right? Or at least one of the equations, which is this. Number 4. Altcoins have pumped after Bitcoin has made the first initial dump. The DXY can correlate with that. Altcoins can still maintain a bullish structure. Bitcoin is in a bearish distribution, possibly, right? So this could be a whole distribution, and that could give altcoins the chance to pump. So it's not about Bitcoin at this point. It's about altcoins, right? That may be the actual narrative now. Do we need to stop focusing on Bitcoin and focus more on altcoins? So is that the missing piece that everyone is not looking at? Which is the pinned comment, who is it? Where are you at, brother? I think I pinned it. I forgot where it is. Anyways, someone mentioned about the flippening, and then I talked about, that gave me an idea to talk about Ethereum and XRP's pump. Because if we go pull up BTC USD one more time, XRP, you can see the pump happened here. Not here, here. This move is where the mega run happened. I don't know what happened with Ethereum at that time. Is Ethereum applicable here? Let's check. Same thing. Ethereum did a mega pump here as well. So that's just a fractal, though. I'm not saying it's set in stone. I'm just saying that is the possibility. And that is why altcoins may pump. Maybe that is the missing equation that we're not seeing in this. So yeah, that's the most likely way, ladies and gentlemen. Not this cycle, maybe the next cycle for the crypto gains tax, if that even happens. Can you please compare BTC with the M2 money supply indicator of set by 43 days? No. I mean, I could give an idea on it. It's just basically liquidity, right? And the financial system, right? If the M2 increases, whether it's due to QE or fiscal stimulation, liquidity enters the system, right? I don't know. It's been quite inaccurate in my opinion. It's not a telltale story. It's really difficult, but there is some correlation. I mean, I think historically, like Bitcoin has performed quite well in loose monetary environments. I think that was the last time was in 2020, right, where we had that COVID stimulus, right? So that was one time, and then the excess capital flows into the risk assets like Bitcoin, and that's why we had that mega bull market as well, right? I think that is the only applicable situation that we had in recent history, and then maybe the tightening of it could have an effect on it. I don't know. If the M2 shrinks because of QT or maybe rate hikes, right? It's a very simple equation. Liquidity's gone. So there will be no more capital coming into risk on assets like Bitcoin. And that's what leads on to a very big correction of bear market. So Bitcoin will tend to struggle. And that's usually example. The latest one is 2022 bear market during the aggressive Fed tightening, right? So those are all very direct correlations. So it thrives in very high liquidity environments, right? Bitcoin, and it faces headwinds when the M2 contracts. So I'm not exactly sure. I haven't looked at it, but that's the essence of how we should be looking at it. Unlikely. I don't believe it's time to move money from Bitcoin to altcoins. Do you feel the same as 2 cycles ago? Do you sense euphoria, Lambo to the moon? I don't know, man. I don't know. We're just theorizing what could be a possibility here. That is possibly the only missing piece of the puzzle here. We simply do not know, you know? We really don't know if that's the case. It could be, but we don't know. I don't know what happened to BTC, Bitcoin dominance. I don't think it was even a metric at that point. We only had like 4 or 5 coins at that time, bro. Is talk of a strategic Bitcoin reserve for China or Korea? When will be the GFC 2.0? Japanese bond yields highest level since GFC? A long way, brother. Long away. What do you think about getting away from correlations to Bitcoin as we have hit in the stock market? The only real correlation that we're having right now is actually the stock markets. Bitcoin is getting affected by the stock markets. I don't know what's happening with the S&P 500, but it's dumping. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna summarize it one more time. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet, because I'm gonna summarize everything for you guys. Don't leave yet. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, just a small little insert. Don't forget to hit that like button one more time if you're joining just now, or if you forgot to press the like button. Subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot to me. I really do look at everyone's comments and interest in what they want to see in the next video update. As you guys can see, I've been updating Ethereum 2 in 1 week. That's pretty much unheard of for me. And then XRP, you guys are really interested in XRP. I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm in it. Yeah, so please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And also, if you guys are interested in joining the Discord membership, we have, I think, over 1,200 members now. We've been operating since 2018. So if you are interested in joining the Discord membership, where I do more timely updates, everything in between these live streams, it's quite a long time, right? I mean, I also do social media. I give so much free alpha to the free public, basically. Like, at this point, what's the point of joining Discord, right? But anyways, join, because we do a lot of updates on there on a daily basis. I share a lot of altcoins as well. I also do offer service for Patreon, which is 2 video updates a week. So make sure to join that as well if you're interested. So there's a lot of ways to get access to my brain. ICO season was the top during the flippening. What's the theme of this cycle? Fun meme coins easily made and pumped. Yeah, meme coins is definitely one of the biggest topics of this cycle. Definitely the Dino coins coming back into the markets. That's where I made most of my profits. I sold 50% of my XRP. So yeah, it's definitely looking pretty good. I think I hold quite a bit of XRP, actually. A lot of XRP. I sold half of it. But there's a reason why I still hold 50%. Like I said, there's still that bullish continuation possibility of 3 scenarios. So that's why I still hold it. Thank you very much, JSTC. You are so kind. So kind. Thank you very, very, very much. Litecoin, what JTST said. Thank you very much, Mitch. You are so kind. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Sheila. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Hope XRP does what it did in 2017. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, I have hope for it. I mean, I have pretty high conviction that XRP is going to do another massive run. I don't know. Are you Korean? Are you from Korea? 그럼 당연히 리플 갖고 있겠죠. 당연히. I think so. What's a big sign the alt season is finished? Eric, I admire you so much. Respect you and your family. God bless you. Thank you very, 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 very much. Okay, so let's summarize this, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are waiting for this, right? So, like I said, we are narrowed down to 3 bearish scenarios and 1 bullish scenario, okay? We have the integrity of this ABC going into wave W. So we're most likely in a wave X at this point, right? A wave X that's either still being created where we have a larger distribution for a wave X that helps us alleviate some of the timing issue. And then now the problem is going to be a little bit more detailed in the sense that how that X wave is going to be created. There's going to be either 3 different ways of creating this X wave, where X wave could be already terminated and we may be working for the ABC to the downside right now, or we're working for some kind of ABC here, and there could be a double zigzag and the X wave could be at an earlier date, and then we go for that ABC. Those are the only 3 ways that we can subcategorize this X wave. And then we have 1 bullish scenario, which is still at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we have 1 more triangle scenario as well, an A, B, C, D, E. But again, this is probably the lower of the 4 scenarios because of this move here not looking like a 3-wave move. And then we have 1 bullish scenario, which is the idea of what could be the completion of that wave 4 that our original narrative was. And we may be working in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside that could possibly be saved by what is the fundamental of tomorrow's agenda of the crypto summit. And if that happens, we need a GTFO now and go up very, very soon and work for at least a wave 3 of the diagonal. And even then, it's still not a diagonal. It's still just the very early stages of a diagonal. We're going to look for a wave 4 or possibly overlapping into the wave 1 territory. And then we're going to look for a wave 5 to the upside. And then we're still looking for a wave 2 pullback of a larger degree of this primary wave 1, 2. And then we're going to look for that wave 3. So as you can see, there's a lot of obstacles right now that we have to be going through. And that is why we have to label this as the lowest probability, even though we have a soft spot for Bitcoin. So yes, that's how we have to do it. Thank you very much if you're able to talk about Litecoin, but if you're amazing. We'll go over Litecoin in the next live stream, brother. I mean, it's not moving. It's like watching paint dry on the wall, man. It's just it's not going anywhere. That's why I've been accumulating for a long time now for Litecoin as well. I'm going to accumulate it even during the bear market. I add Litecoin every single day to my portfolio, every single day. I don't care what price it is, and that has worked out so phenomenally for me. So, yeah, wait, let's check out the price on Upbit. Yeah, it's still the same. There's not even a premium going on. In fact, one thing that is very interesting about XRP on the Korean exchanges is that it actually created a WXY, the scenario that we've actually been looking for. So if we go to XRP, that scenario where we may be looking for a WXY, the reason why we may not even look for lower levels for that scenario is due to the fact that it has already completed on the Korean exchanges, right? Because if we look at it, we could say that the A, B, C has completed, and then we can say that a WXY, the primary degree, has already completed as well, where we have this, and then an A, B, C. So it looks like it's also complete on the Korean exchanges, and this is very, very interesting. So that's something to keep obvious about, because the Korean exchanges do lead the markets in terms of the actual extreme liquidity points and also the support and resistances. Usually the Korean exchanges lead in that sense. So is this going to be telling that we're going to be working for one more low and then we get supported? Maybe, but right now we have already completed a WXY to the downside for the Korean exchanges. So that's something to keep in mind. 저도 그냥 계속 한국어 쓰고 싶은데, 근데 알잖아요. If Bitcoin pumped and surpassed into the previous highs, what would you comprehend in Elliott wave perspective? Then we would take a real Okay, so if, you're saying if, right? If it's a big possibility, right? If it is a possible, let's say just today, Bitcoin just pumped up like this. This would just be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And that's a big if. And I don't think that's happening. I don't think that's happening. Doge is a good long-term investment. Doge is a tier 2 coin, brother. Doge is a tier 2 coin. 그러게요. I love learning about Elliott wave theory from your videos. Thank you very much. I'm new to the live stream. Do we have any BTC short-term scenarios? We did it for about an hour straight, brother. You're going to have to look through it. You're going to have to scroll, use the scroll bar, and just scroll your way to the past. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. 감사합니다, 여러분. Okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of the week and the weekend.